If you see any soldiers, KPA, on the northern side of the line, I would ask that you don't wave or make any gestures or really acknowledge their presence in any way.
I'm standing at one of the most heavily militarized borders in the world, separating two countries that have technically been at war since 1950.
150 miles of electric fences, 2 million landmines, and thousands of opposing soldiers.
This is the Korean Demilitarized Zone, the DMZ, the border barrier that divides Korean Peninsula into roughly two equal countries, North Korea and South Korea. This strip of land runs from the east to the west of the Korean Peninsula near the 38th parallel north. Military forces and operations are prohibited with it, but the border beyond it is one of the most heavily militarized borders in the world. In this video, you will learn how this small strip of land determined how a people who share the same geography, language, culture, history arrived at two contrasting realities, one a thriving global leader and a beacon of prosperity, and the other impoverished and isolated. Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Langdon Tungchama, and this is a tale of two Koreas, divided by a single decision, the path they chose. One of the arguments for the underdevelopment of the African continent is its geography. Now, it isn't without its merit, but it doesn't paint the whole picture. North and South Koreans are the same people, and they share the same geography, the same culture, and the same history. But it turned out very differently. And this divergence didn't happen centuries ago. No, it started after the World War II and was cemented by the subsequent Korean Wars of the 1950s. What was responsible for their current reality was the kind of government and the policies that each country implemented. To appreciate this contrast, let's give it some historical context. For a huge part of its history, Korea was a united kingdom. Then it fell under the Japanese influence in the late 19th century and the early 20th century. After the Empire of Japan won a series of wars against China and Russia over Korea, it annexed Korea in 1910, cementing its hold over the peninsula. Korea was controlled by Japan from 1910 until Japan's unconditional surrender to the Allied forces on 15 August 1945, which effectively brought an end to the Second World War and the liberation of Korea. The surrender of Japan, combined with fundamental shifts in global politics and ideology at the time, led to the division of Korea into two occupation zones along the 38th parallel, with the northern half of the peninsula occupied by the Soviet Union and the southern half by the United States. These two zones became two separate countries in 1948, with high tension due to their political and ideological differences. In 1950, North Korea breached the 38th parallel and invaded South Korea, starting the Korean War. The war ended in 1953 after extensive fighting between the South, backed by the United States and the United Nations, and the North, backed by China and the Soviet Union. The war left about 3 million Koreans dead, making it one of the deadliest conflicts of the Cold War era, with virtually all of Korea's major cities destroyed and its economy in ruins. After the devastating war, and despite occasional political instability, South Korea embraced democracy and open trade. They dismantled authoritarian rule, held free elections, welcomed foreign investment, and this made a big difference for them. In contrast, North Korea established a totalitarian communist government with a hereditary succession of leadership, close ties to China and Soviet Union, and pursued isolationist policies. The South opened its doors to the world. They invested in education and infrastructure, embraced technology, and participated in global markets. Democracy empowered its citizens while open trade fueled its economy. From textiles to tech, South Korea transformed itself from a poor agrarian society devastated by war to one of the world's most highly industrialized nations, a global powerhouse. Today, South Korea boasts of a booming economy that is ranked 13th in the world, with a GDP per capita of $34,000, about 27 times higher than the North's GDP per capita, making it one of the G20 economies and a major one at that. South Korea is one of the 4 Asian tigers along with Hong Kong, Singapore, and Taiwan. It also has one of the world's largest foreign exchange reserves. Its citizens enjoy high living standards, access to information, and individual freedoms unimaginable across the border. Meanwhile, North Korea under communist leadership closed its borders. The Juche ideology, personal philosophy of Kim Il-sung, North Korea's first leader, emphasized national self-reliance and prioritization of military strength. This led to the country's isolation and economic stagnation,
North Korea is the world's most repressive regime. The brutal Kim dynasty, which has been in control for over half a century, has presided over some of the world's worst human rights abuses. Talking to the ordinary people of North Korea is virtually impossible.
Resources were diverted to the military while the people faced hardship and limited freedoms. International sanctions further worsened its economic situation. Today, despite possessing abundant national resources, North Korea is one of the poorest countries in the world.
And for a long time, even supplies of food and medicines were stopped. Well, this has likely created some of the harshest conditions North Koreans have ever had to live through.
It grapples with food shortages, limited healthcare, and widespread poverty, and it relies heavily on foreign aid. The once proud nation has become a symbol of poverty and repression. Picture two countries sharing a peninsula yet worlds apart. In South Korea, vibrant cities strewn with energy, sleek cars glide down highways, and well-stocked supermarkets offer choices unimaginable to their northern neighbors. Children in crisp uniforms race to school, boasting the latest technology. This is a nation where most people's basic needs are met, and opportunities, while not without its challenges, are abundant. Now shift your gaze northward. The air crackles with a different energy, one of tense silence and tightly controlled movement. Here in the security state of North Korea, food is a constant worry, medicine is scarce, and crumbling buildings whisper of faded promises. At night, satellite images tell the starkest tale. The south glitters with the glow of vibrant life, while the north lies cloaked in darkness. South Korea's nominal GDP was approximately $1.6 trillion in 2022, while North Korea's nominal GDP was approximately $40 billion. The South's current average life expectancy is 83 years, which is over 10 years that of North Korea. The South invested massively in education and currently has a literacy rate that is nearing 100%, one of the highest in the world, while millions lack basic access to education in the North. Beyond statistics, the human cost of North Korea's policies is immeasurable. Millions suffer under food insecurity, lack of basic freedom, and the ever-present threat of repression. Apparently, most North Koreans envy their South Korean cousins. Let's bring it back home. Many African countries face similar challenges with poverty, limited resources, and a desire for development. So what can Africa learn from the Korean story? Number one, embrace inclusive governance. A governance where every voice is heard is the bedrock of a thriving society. When citizens have a voice and rights are protected, societies flourish. Empowering citizens fosters innovation, builds trust, and paves the way for progress. Authoritarianism leaves citizens impoverished. Number two, open the doors to the whole world. Isolation cripples growth. Engaging with the world, fostering trade, learning from others is crucial for economic development and prosperity. Every developed country learned a thing or two from another country. There is a massive potential in Africa's diversity, and we can bring it to bear through open engagement. Number three, avoid delusions. Self-reliance, while important, shouldn't come at the cost of progress. We shouldn't close our borders because we want to achieve self-sufficiency in, say, rice production. This leads to hunger and leads to higher price of food for citizens who do not even have much. Africa should learn from North Korea's mistake and chart a path of collaboration, openness, and leveraging its unique strengths to achieve its potential. Integration with the world fosters economic growth and cultural exchange. The key thing is to focus on our unfair advantage and export that to the whole world. The future of any nation is not predetermined. It is shaped by the choices that citizens and leaders make. The divergent path of North and South Korea illustrates this crucial truth. As Africa navigates its journey, let's see the lessons of history and strive for inclusive governance, respect for human rights and democratic values, innovation, and openness to global trade and investment. African nations can chart their own course towards prosperity and progress. Together, we can build an Africa where every nation thrives, united in our diversity and empowered by our choices. We can build a brighter future for all together. But we must begin by making the right choices today. Thank you for watching, and remember to subscribe for more insightful content like this. It helps the channel a lot. And until next time, take charge of your future. Goodbye.